trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare.
All right. Hello, everyone. Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. So let's see who's in here. And you all, we have so much to talk about. Okay, even since last night. Now, if you missed the broadcast last night, please go back and watch. Okay, so that have been said, hello, retired federal banks. Charlene is here, G from the land. All right, Terry Hinton, Soul Sister, Claudette, Hadassah, 504 Nola, Queen Amoni Huey. All right, let's get into it. Nessa G, Jeff ATL, Junior Thorpe is here, Timothy. All right, shout out to all of my loyal royals. I see you, Lenora. Or I'm sorry, Lano Rex. So shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. Y'all know I love me some you. I see you, Mel. Okay, realize. Okay. Let's get into it. I'm gonna start off with, as per usual, a brief word from my sponsor. We got to keep the lights on. Let's get into it.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, you all, Trump has us all. He has us all running for our lives. I want y'all to pay attention. Now, with that all been said, listen, you can order your 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she has beard oil. Now, let's get into this nefariousness that Trump has us all in, okay? I want y'all to pay attention. First off, these leaders have gotten special forces units together, okay, to prepare for Trump. They're out here conducting military exercises. They're getting ready. Okay, and then Iran has said that they will have Trump assassinated. And they're not playing games. If you remember, I reported to you back in 2020 after Trump had General Soleimani taken out of here that they had a bounty on his head then. But now they're talking big stuff, and they said next time they won't miss. Putin, meanwhile, says that if Trump dares to take over Greenland, well, that's going to be the end of the world. And you know what he's talking about, nuclear. Okay, he's going to go nuclear. That's what it sounds like for me, that he's going to launch one of those nuclear bombs. Okay, so it's all about to get real. Okay, so but also I want to show you all some of the things that ICE is continuing to do. These people, it's just almost unfathomable to watch. Like, it's almost unbelievable, except that it is believable because this is exactly, what Trump told us he would do, the mass deportations. Kamala told us he was going to put the military out there on the ground and have them attacking U.S. citizens. Some Black people said, oh, you shouldn't worry about it. That's not going to happen to us. But guess what? It has happened to us because last night they attacked a Black family with a 6-month-old baby. And word is the baby wasn't breathing. Okay, so we're going to get into all of that. I'm going to show you the footage from those videos. But before we do, let's go to some of the things that were posted, okay, on X. Okay, so Germany deploying troops in Greenland. Now, Mark Warner says, in just a year, Trump has so damaged the United States' reputation that Germany and the UK are talking about sending troops to Greenland. How many more allies will turn against us? Exactly. That's what you all should be asking yourselves, because I told you this weeks ago. That all of our allies are going to turn on us, and you don't think these people can all get together and dogpile on the U.S., tag team on the U.S.? These people are sick of Trump, and he thinks it's starting to look like he wants world dominion, but I guarantee you they're not going to allow him to have it. Now, Orla Jolson says, some officers from the Swedish Armed Forces are arriving in Greenland today. Not just from Sweden. Okay, I want you all to pay attention. Not just the Swedish armed forces, there's others, according to reports. Now, they are part of a group from several allied countries. Together, they will prepare upcoming phases within the framework of the Danish exercise operation Arctic Endurance at Denmark's request. Sweden is sending personnel from the Swedish armed forces. Okay, Ulf Kristersson says several officers from the Swedish Armed Forces are arriving. Oh, he just reposted. Okay. Now, with that all being said, don't y'all find this very problematic? And here is one of the jets that they have landed. This is called Hercules. Hercules landed in Nuuk, Greenland. The other Hercules aircraft has landed in Kangerlussuaq, or Lussuaq, however you say that. Okay, now with that all being said, this man Rasmus Jarov says, I was willing to die. I have given everything I have for the USA, all my dreams, all my life, my future, my body, and my soul. My entire world changed 11/9 when the World Trade Center collapsed. I was a teenager, and I remember that the grown-ups were paralyzed. I remember the images of people falling down. I felt I had to do something. From that day, I was destined to become a soldier. I practiced math to become good at ballistics. I went for long walks with my backpack. In 2009, I was deployed to Afghanistan. Okay, now, so like military personnel, some of them are even upset about this whole thing. Okay, Jack Hart says, Germany is white supremacy country, queen, shaking my head. Well, we already know it is, beloved. Absolutely. Terry Hinn says, those European countries said, bring it. Trump, we're ready. Exactly. So I want you all to pay attention. This is all getting real bad. Now, brace yourselves because I'm about to show you exactly what ICE is out here doing. I'm going to first show you a video of this black man talking tough about how ICE ain't coming for black folk because we were here first, da 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 da. Okay, y'all, I don't know how black people even think that they're not going to come for us. They always have come for us. We're the main ones they hate and envy. Okay? Now, the only reason you haven't been hearing a whole lot of stuff about them doing things to black people is because black people have not been out there in those streets for the most part. Now, that's just my opinion. When you see the protesting and all of that, you don't really see black folk out there. Okay? I guarantee if you saw black people out there, you'd be hearing about these things every day. And it probably would have been one of us that got taken out first. I'm just saying. Now, anyway, with that all being said, I'm going to share my screen. Likes up, everyone, please like and share.
ICE is detaining Native Americans. And now they're trying to use it as a time to say, oh, if they're coming for the Native Americans, you know that you Black Americans aren't safe, right? So this is what people are understanding when they say that. We were already first, right? So if they really wanted us, they would have already came for us already. They're literally showing you guys that we are from this land. If supposedly, like they say, Native Americans were here before us, then we should have been the target before Native Americans. We've always been first at the first people they come after. Why would they not have come for us by now? Why would they wait for us to be the last people that they come for?
Yes, sir, because they haven't seen us out there in those streets. Okay, now, I'm not going to play all of some of these videos. I won't play the entire thing because I really don't have time. We have too much to cover. Okay, we have too much to cover. Now, here's what I thought was interesting. She brought up, this lady brings up how the Democrats are willing to shut down the government over ICE, but haven't said a word about Dakara Thompson, who was killed by an illegal immigrant. Okay, that should tell you everything you need to know. You all remember this young lady because I reported on her.
Hi, I have to ask you, do you know who this young lady is? Her name is Dakara Thompson. This young lady was just murdered in August of 2025, just a few months ago. And I find it very odd that I didn't know who she was. And the reason I didn't know where she was because there were no protests for her. There were no Congress people out there crying for her. And it's really odd because she lived in Prince George County, which is right there by Washington, D.C. And you would think that all of our U.S. Congress people would know who she was. You would think that they at least started protests for her, but they didn't. But you see them all protesting, all out there trying to protect people from ICE, as they call it. Now, as long as anyone else is murdered by an illegal immigrant, you don't see one thing from them. You didn't hear any protest. You didn't hear anyone say one thing to this young lady's family because they did not care. She did not fit the narrative. She did not fit the script. She was just a young 19-year-old who left her father's house to go get some gas. She had been raped and her body thrown over a bridge. And the person that is standing trial for that now was an illegal immigrant. He had been arrested back in April for DUI, but of course, a liberal judge let him walk out of court. Had that not happened, Dakara might still be with us today. But we're not seeing any cries, any tears for this young lady, an American woman who was just murdered because a judge allowed her murderer to walk free and did not include ICE, did not tell ICE that this man had just committed a crime in the United States, a DUI. They did not refer him to ICE or anything. He walked out and he was left out there to wreak havoc upon this young lady. And when everyone in our federal government is concerned about everybody else.
Okay, so no lies detected. No lies detected. But this is nothing new. Okay, now check this out. this is out of control. ICE isn't allowed to drag people from their cars. They're escalating their lawlessness. Oh, of course they are. Of course they are. But y'all, let me tell y'all something. Wait till y'all find out the process for these fools, these thugs, these gang members. Okay? Where do you find out the process for these devils to get hired? Then it'll all make sense. Okay? I told you all they weren't being properly trained, and that these are nothing more than little stupid people who were bullied in school. Now they want to come out here on the streets and bully other people, or just racist demons who want to enact their revenge on people who don't look like them. And they get paid to do so, mind you. Now, that person they just shoved, just so you know, was the city council president. Okay, clearly not a criminal, but let Trump tell it. They're only in Minneapolis. They're only there to arrest murderers and rapists. That's what Trump will tell you. And of course, illegals who are doing those things, by the way.
Do you have an ID on you, ma'am?
I don't need an ID to walk around in my city. This is my
Okay,
city.
do you have
This is
some
my
ID
home.
then, please?
I don't need an
If
ID.
not, we're going to put you in the vehicle and we're going to ID you.
Agents also confronted a woman and asked her repeatedly to show identification. Here's the thing. What the hell does he mean? If not, this sounds like he wants to assault her. Because why in the world is he talking about if not? If you don't have an ID, we're going to put you in the vehicle and identify you. How in the hell are you going to identify her in the damn vehicle? And if so, why can't you do it outside of the vehicle? How are you going to identify her if she doesn't have ID on her? You would have nothing to go on other than what she said. Am I right? So if she says something, why does she have to say it inside the vehicle? Like, this is all crazy. This is all crazy. Okay, now, Terry Hint says, if they terrorize in their own, they certainly don't have a problem deleting or harming us. Exactly. And that's what I was telling you all on yesterday. Exactly, beloved. These people are insane. Just psychopaths.
You don't have an ID?
Hey man, I am U.S. citizen. I am U.S. citizen.
All right, can we see an ID, please?
I am U.S. citizen.
Now, while she's here snitching on herself, this young lady right here, or some people said it's a guy, I can't tell, looks like a girl to me, but nonetheless, this person snitching on themselves, I think they may be charged with fraud. Timothy says, that's right, Queen, the math is not math, and exactly. So Sister said, Kamala said this would happen. Indeed, she did. Okay, now let's listen to this, because you all remember the ICE agent who murdered Renee Nicole Good, Jonathan Ross. So remember, I reported to you that he had a GoFundMe that had collected over, I think it was like they reported like $400-some thousand. She says 300 something thousand. I'm thinking that this video was made before it got more money, because it was like 450,000 when I reported. But listen to what this person says.
I am the person who made the Jonathan Ross GoFundMe that's up to like $300,000 now. No, I do not support him, but I knew a bunch of fucking idiots would donate money to it. So no, that money's not going to him. That money's going to me. I just made $300,000 off of the idiocy of American citizens. And I'm making this video because people keep reporting it, and I don't want to get it taken down, because making a GoFundMe for someone defending their criminal activity is not allowed on there. So really, any GoFundMe firm shouldn't be allowed. So, but hopefully it stays up long enough for me to get at least 500,000, because like, I'm making bank and people don't know it's me. I am the person who made the Jonathan Ross GoFundMe
Okay, do y'all hear this? Why would she get on there and say that, girl? Why would she get on there and say that? Now they're going to take it down and they might charge her behind with fraud. This is all crazy. This is so like, who does that? If snuff stitching has become a thing on social media, these people are idiots, honey. I could never. Okay, but let me continue. Now look at this.
Told you so. Just about everything. Everything that's about to happen, we told you so. We were like, hey, it's going to be bad. If he comes back, he's back.
Now, y'all see all these people they have on here. Look at their faces. Look at them. Look at them. These are all the sellouts. Sadly, Nicki Minaj is amongst them with her stupid self. Says how they feel now that Trump is rolling back to civil rights achievement for African Americans. That Donald Trump said the civil rights achievement for Black people has discriminated against white people. How do they feel that over 350,000 of Black women lost their jobs? They're banned in Black history. They're banned in Black books. And Trump military and police targeting and brutalizing in Black people and killing them. They are silent, okay? They are super raccoons. Okay, please pay attention. Another protest broke out this afternoon in Washington, D.C. with thousands, he says. This was from about 2 days ago.
We have some major news right now. I'm right here in front of Customs and Border Protection in Washington, D.C., where a massive protest has broken out. Thousands of people here in Washington, D.C. on the ground behind me, protesting CBP, protesting ICE, protesting Kristi Noem, the Department of Homeland Security. I mean, it is big. I mean, it's huge. Tons of people flooding the streets. We're expected to have members of Congress shortly. People are furious right now. People are furious. There are thousands of protests over the weekend, and this is just another one with a ton of people out here. I mean, signs of saying crush ICE, end ICE. And we're right in front of Customs and Border Patrol. And let me show you one other thing right over there. You can't really see, it's small. But you have dozens of CBP agents, dozens of Department of Homeland Security officers right around the corner. But people are pretty upset, and honestly, justifiably so. I'm here covering it live. Spread the word, and as always,
the car before you get.
Now that's fucking assault.
Don't move, you're gonna get fucking tased. Don't fucking move, or you're gonna get tased. Because you want to be an idiot.
I'm not moving.
Because you want to be a fucking idiot.
You're a fucking pussy.
You're a fucking bitch. And you're gonna learn the fucking hard way.
I just asked you for an ID. That was
I don't give a fuck what you asked me for, bitch.
Shut up.
You shut up, bitch.
Shut up.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
He has a gun on him. Look at that.
A fully registered firearm. Because I'm a U.S. citizen. What's wrong with y'all? Wow. Wow.
Let's go. Get him in the fuck.
Now, family, notice how the ICE agents still at the car once they detain him start putting his belongings in their pockets. Okay? Likely stealing. You know, because that's what they did to one young man. They stole his cell phone and allegedly sold it for a profit.
That's a vax.
Is that right? Is that fucking right? You just got fucking smoked. What would you have to do to fight? You the fuck out here. I'm gonna let you the fuck alone. Y'all are some real fucking scumbags, you know that, right? I'm a scumbag? Yes. You just acted like a fucking scumbag. If you're a fucking U.S. citizen, you shouldn't have done that. What made you get into this fucking profession? Why are you so mad at so mad at immigrants? What did they do to you? unlawful arrest. Let's see. What did I do? What did I do that was illegal? Don't worry. We're gonna talk. What did I do that was illegal? You can explain it to the judge. Okay. What? I didn't reach for anything. I reached for my whistle. Oh, bro, not picking on fucking family, bro. Picking on family. You're picking on family, bro. I'm fucking arresting child molester. I'm fucking child molester. Yeah. Are you guys kidding me?
But now you're arresting a U.S. citizen for what? For what?
Who here's the child molester, bro?
It's a darn shame. Just a darn shame. DJ Big Six says, paperwork, por favor. You actually would say documentos, por favor, or el papeleo, por favor. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of slavery, when the slaves would be traveling from one plantation to another, and then they would be stopped by the slave catchers and forced to show their paperwork. That's what this is. But, you know, welcome to our world, because this is what happens to Black people all the time. The stop and frisk have been going on for decades. The stop and frisk. These people are acting as nothing more than a slave patrol. This is nothing new to us. It's just new that we see all of these people, including white folk, we see it happening to them on a regular basis. Okay? It's just so shocking because people are seeing other people, but it was never shocking when they saw it happen to us. Thank you, Dynamic Quality, beloved. Says Trump has threatened Minnesota again, Queen. Oh, I'm sure he has. I'm sure he has. But you know what, beloved? Trump needs to be worried about the threats against him, because Iran said next time they ain't going to miss. Okay? He needs to be ducking and dodging is all I'm saying, instead of trying to, continuously attack Governor Tim Walz, because that's what this whole Minnesota thing is all about. That's what it's all about. And here's the thing. They're talking about all of the fraud by the immigrants, but guess what? They say word on the streets is that Elon Musk rat. Okay, they say he is the immigrant that has committed the most fraud in the United States. That's what they say. Mind you, that's all alleged, because I don't have money to fight Elon in court. All right, but thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Now listen to this. I'll go back to this one because I want you all to see what they did first. Hold on. Nah, we're going to go ahead and show it. I'm just going to go in order because I don't have to double back.
I usually do Minnesota.
Now, this is the young man whom they stole his cell phone. They did an interview with him, which I'll show you a clip from that afterwards.
ICE illegally choked out a 10th grader, stole his cell phone, and then sold it for personal profit. I usually do Minnesota content, but this is in Texas. This is in Houston. This is Arnaldo. He's a 10th grader. He was violently detained along with his undocumented father. Hours later, they dumped the teenager, and he had bruises everywhere. His neck, shirt was shredded, and father unaccounted for. The doctors at Texas Children's Hospital reportedly found signs of chokehold and rushed him to the trauma unit. They administered morphine for the pain and ordered a dozen CT scans and x-rays for his neck, spine, and head. This was not crowd control. This was severe physical injury to a kid. Arnaldo filmed most of the interaction, the most that he could. And then once he was dumped and out of the hospital, he used Find My iPhone to track his phone. He later tracked it to a used phone vending machine near an ICE detention center. I think that makes it pretty clear that an officer, I don't even want to call them officers, sold that for personal profit. When the family reported this to the police, they were skeptical and filed a report, and they have not heard from them since. And insult to injury, DHS allegedly warned Arnaldo that he could be charged with assault. The kid could be, because he dared to elbow one of the agents while he was being choked. And in the most American way ever, the DHS spokesman, Trisha McLaughlin, had the audacity to claim the officer graciously chose not to press charges after choking the shit out of a child, beating him up, stealing his father, dumping his body, stealing his phone, and then selling it. But they didn't press charges on him.
Do y'all hear that? That's like the time I was in Cobb County where it's so racist because they always brag about, there was a news clip that I showed you all years ago where they were bragging about how they only shoot black people because they pulled over a white woman who was scared to death and shaking in the middle of the night. And the officer asked her, "Why are you shaking?" She said, "Because I don't want to get shot." They said, "Oh, we only shoot black people." Then later when they were questioned about it, they said, "Oh, they were joking." But he was dead serious. That's Cobb County. That's why black people here know, that you can just get harassed for just simply minding your own black business in Cobb County. But here's the thing. They said that he graciously didn't press charges. Okay? As if that were some sort of favor. So sister said Cobb County, Georgia is the worst. Racist as heck. Yes, it is. And it reminded me of the time that I was coming home on Christmas or from a family dinner. This was years ago, over a decade ago, in Cobb County. It was pouring down raining, cold as hell outside. I was wearing 6-inch heels, and the police pulled me over. Well, actually, they didn't pull me over. They came to the scene because of a fender bender. Okay, so a guy cut in front of me. I nicked the back of his car. There was no damage, none whatsoever. Okay, but they called the police because that's what racist white folk do. And so anyway, long story short, the police got there. He's trying to make me do all these sobriety tests. And I'm like, "Sir, I don't even drink, but let's go ahead." So I took off my shoes. I'm standing out there in the rain. It's pouring down. It's cold. It's freezing. My feet are getting wet through my stockings. And I passed the sobriety test, but oh, that's not good enough. Well, I can't. This is what he says. "I can't tell if you passed it or not." And that he said, "Because you're trembling." I said, "I'm trembling because it's cold as hell out here. It's like 30 degrees and it's raining." Okay, so that all been said, he says, "I have to call another officer who's a specialist in this and have him give you the test all over again." He calls in, then he tells me, "Oh, it's going to take him about 20 minutes to get here." So I asked him, "Can I get back inside the car till he gets here?" He's like, "No, I need you to stand right here." This bitch made me stand in the cold and rain in my stocking feet for 20 more minutes while I waited after I've already passed the test, mind you, because I don't damn drink. Okay, I might have a glass of wine or something like that, but I don't really drink, never really have. But anyway, so the other officer shows up, I retake the test and pass it. And then as I'm getting ready to leave, I just told him, I said, "This is so unnecessary. At the end of the day, this was all about racism." And then he was like, "Oh, this isn't about racism." And he said, "Ma'am, I didn't even give you a ticket." I said, "Give me a ticket for what? Give me a ticket for what?" Talking about, "Ma'am, I didn't even give you a ticket." Like he's doing me a damn favor. Boy, when I tell you, let's continue.
This is the world we live in right
I'm going to tell you, it's about to get real ugly, and Trump's going to definitely declare martial law, because what's going to happen is some of these people are going to start doing the same thing to ICE that ICE is doing to people. And it's going to be people who look like Trump. It's going to be people who look like Trump, because we all know that if anybody can't take it, they can't. They're going to start doing the same thing that ICE is doing. I see it coming. Okay, I see it coming. This is all getting out of hand. Now, next up is the black family that got attacked by ICE. While y'all sitting up here, some of y'all talking about, "Oh, we black. We ain't got to worry about it. Oh, we ain't got to worry about it." Deronda said Queen wanted to give him a 2-piece. I sure did. And then some. Okay, now let's get into it. Hold on, let me read you the caption first. It says, major breaking. A man says after being struck in Lindale Avenue in Minnesota, or stuck on Lindale Avenue in Minnesota and trying to leave the chaos, ICE officers threw a smoke grenade into his car where 6 children were sitting. He says, I was just trying to leave.
Officers threw flashbangs and tear gas in my car and made I got 6 kids in the car. But my 6-month-old can't even breathe. My 2-year-old then flipped out the damn car. This was flipped over. My car filled with tear gas. I'm trying to pull my kids out the car. I'm telling the officer I need ambulance. It took him 5 fucking minutes. He's going back and forth with me, telling me to go back in there and call and tell them to come up Lindale. They can't even come up Lindale.
Were you participating in the protest?
I wasn't at all. I didn't care to be, not to say it like that, but I wasn't. Like,
You were just here.
Yes, I was trying to leave. Officers threw flashbangs and tear gas in my car and made I got 6 kids in the car. But my 6-month-old can't even breathe.
Apologize, beloveds. I let that play over again. I was distracted. Okay, I was looking for something. Now, with that all being said, let's continue. That is absolutely crazy. Okay, this guy says, no illegal immigrant has defrauded the U.S. government more than Elon Musk. And that's just a fact, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Hold on, let me put an overlay on this.
went from sleeping in the office to people throwing, again, this is a financial crowd, so you guys see these numbers every day, but for us to hear, we'll give you $3 million.
Yeah, that sounded extremely, we thought they were crazy. Like, why would they do that?
It was literally like, these people are insane.
They obviously do not realize we're sleeping in the office.
In fact, when they did fund us, they realized that we were illegal immigrants.
Well,
yes, we were.
I'd say it was a gray area.
Yeah, yes, we were. We were illegal immigrants. We were sleeping in the office. We didn't have a car. We had one car. Yeah, we went from sleeping in the office to people throwing, again, this is a financial.
Okay, you all heard that. At the end of the day, hold on. Now, the guy that posted that, Ivano Panetti, says that Elon's the biggest fraudster of all the illegal immigrants. And I absolutely agree. Okay, I absolutely agree. Oh, but hold on. Let me go back because there's at least 2 more videos I want to show you all. And then we're going to get into Trump. There's a video of the 16-year-old, what they did to him and his father. And then also this lady said she went and applied to work for ICE and she got hired. And I believe that the interview only lasted about 6 minutes. Okay, how crazy is that? I told you all days ago they were just hiring people off the streets.
I was choking. The agent just pulls me in. He just puts me in a chokehold. I couldn't breathe.
We're from the United States, bro.
I told him I was a U.S. citizen, that I was 16. My name is Arnoldo Hassan. Me and my dad were abused by federal agents. We were choked, we were kicked.
I was going to school.
We were driving to McDonald's, having a normal morning until a car stopped us.
They started hitting the car 3 times.
They started trying to break our windows. They pointed the gun at us. I remember that I was just standing in the corner, seeing how my dad was getting kicked and everything. Honestly, I feel like I was about to pass out. I feel like I was seeing the light. They told me that we were criminals and stuff. They took my phone with them and they ended up selling it in a machine. I was thinking about what's gonna happen to my dad. He was deported. Every day I just think of him. I want to be just like my dad. He's my role model. I hope God keeps him safe wherever he is. But you gotta realize that hardworking people and everything are going there. People that have families. I don't want no one else to go through this. I want people to open their eyes about what's really going on. I don't think nobody's safe anymore.
Hold on, let me read this, beloveds. After George Floyd's murder, police across the country banned chokeholds and discouraged other moves that can restrict breathing. But today, agents are once again grabbing civilians' throats and kneeling on necks. ProPublica documented more than 40 incidents in which immigration officers use tactics that can restrict a person's breathing or blood flow. Devils. Absolutely egregious. And right now, his father is unaccounted for. They have no idea where this young man's father is. And this is awful. And they're doing this to teenagers. Okay? On his way to school, father stops at McDonald's to get him breakfast. And this is what happens. Disrupts the entirety of their day. And you don't know. They don't know where the father is. I'm telling y'all, honey, some people about to be on demon time just like them. Because that's clearly what they're on. They're on demon time. And I want you all to pay attention because this right here is the absolute truth. Okay? It says, the people who hid Anne Frank were breaking the law. The people who killed her were following it. Just because it's illegal does not mean it's lawful. A reminder that Nazis were hunted and tried well into their 90s. Okay, that's right, ICE. Okay, that is absolutely the truth. Now, hold on. Let me find that video where the lady says, hold on, now this is a journalist. Left journalist Laura Jadid was hired by ICE. This is the one I was looking for. Was hired by ICE after a short 6-minute interview. And wait till you hear what the hiring process is like. No wonder these agents have no clue what the F they're doing. And so aggressive because they're hiring any warm bodies they can get. Notice how they haven't hired any black people. Do y'all notice that? How come you don't see any black ICE agents? Well, because black people likely wouldn't be out there behaving like this unless they were raccoons. Okay? Black people aren't applying for ICE. That's why.
They were promising on-the-spot hiring to where you could, in fact, walk out with your $50,000 bonus that day, possibly. I went in, I handed in my resume, which was, I did a skills-based resume. I'm a veteran. I served 2 tours in Afghanistan. So on the surface, the resume looked pretty good. Had a very brief interview, took all of 6 minutes. They didn't ask very many questions. And then I left, assuming I would never hear back because I'm a very Googleable person. I have an unusual name. I'm the only Laura Jadid on the internet. And I make no secret of how I feel about ICE and Trump and all of it. So I was not expecting several days later to receive a tentative offer. I missed it in my inbox and it sunk to the bottom, which means that I never filled out the paperwork they requested. I never accepted the tentative offer. I never filled out my background check paperwork. I never signed the affidavit saying I committed no domestic violence crimes, none of it. A few weeks later, I got a message from LabCorp saying that ICE wanted me to do a drug test, and I went ahead and did that. I was pretty sure I wouldn't pass. I'd partaken in legal cannabis 6 days before the test, but why not waste some of their money, right? And then 9 days after that, I decided I wanted to, I was curious, had they processed the drug test yet? So I logged onto the ICE hiring portal, and what I found was that not only did the drug test not seem to be relevant, I was listed as having joined ICE as of 3 days earlier. I had listed that I had accepted the offer. They had offered me a final position as a deportation officer. My background check was listed as completed 3 days in the future from when I was looking at it. So it seems like the answer to the question, who are they hiring, is they don't know. I mean, it's very funny that they hired a lefty journalist with a profile on Antifa Watch. That's hilarious. But what's not funny is they didn't make me sign a domestic violence waiver. So how many people with domestic violence convictions are running around with guns in our cities terrorizing people? How many people who have been committed of sex crimes or crimes against children are in charge of detention centers where there's no oversight, where people won't be missed and won't be believed? The agent was very keen on letting me know that I wouldn't be given a badge and a gun right away. I wouldn't be out in the street messing people up. I would probably have to push paperwork for about 6 months before I got.
Said she wouldn't be out in the streets messing people up right away. Oh, okay. That's the words they used.
Got there. And when I expressed that was fine with me, with my analyst background, he actually, the atmosphere changed. He was like, no, listen, we want everyone on the street with guns eventually.
Y'all hear this? This is all crazy, right? But let me tell you all one more trick. Let me just tell you all one more trick that ICE has up their sleeve. Terry says, not even a decent background check? Of course not. Why would they do that, beloved? They don't need to check the backgrounds of good, decent white folk who told them that they were former military. They're just going to take them at their word, beloved. That's how that works in real life. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. Edward says, I've seen some black ICE agents. I wish I was younger. I would work for them. Oh, you have? Okay, well, I haven't seen any. NT Gangster says those black ICE agents are Stevens and Stephanie. Y'all are terrible. Okay, so with that all being said, now let's talk about what else ICE has up their sleeve, in case you missed it. So did you all know that they can check your phones, that they can spy on your phones and all of that? Yeah, that's what they can do. Let's get into it. This is a report from the American Civil Liberties Union. Okay, so it says, hold on. Okay, yeah, it says, the Fourth Amendment generally requires the government to get a warrant before searching your private information. But government agencies are circumventing the intent of the Constitution by simply buying, hold on, I'm going to put this on the screen. And beloveds, do me a favor, because you all know that when I have so much receipts and things to talk about, sometimes I leave something out. I have a very important PSA, okay, i.e. lifeline for you all. Please don't let me forget to give it to you. It is very important, okay? Now, that all being said, the Fourth Amendment generally requires the government to get a warrant before searching your private information, but government agencies are circumventing the intent of the Constitution by simply buying sensitive personal data from private companies. Are y'all hearing this? So now they're doing the same things that the credit collectors do. Okay, today the ACLU published documents obtained from the Department of Homeland Security, shedding light on how ICE, Customs and Border Protection, and other parts of DHS have bought access to huge amounts of highly sensitive location data harvested from, guess where? People's cell phones that enables government tracking of our movements over time. Okay, now while we filed a Freedom of Information Act lawsuit against DHS in 2020 for records about its practice of purchasing bulk access to cell phone location information gathered from smartphone apps. In 2022, we posted thousands of pages of previously unreleased documents, but our litigation continued. And today we are publishing the additional records we've obtained over the last several years. Although DHS announced in 2024 that it was ending its contracts with data brokers for access to bulk cell phone location data, recent reporting indicates that the agency is getting back in the business of mass tracking of America's phones, giving these records renewed relevance. So, in fact, just last week, 404 Media reported that ICE bought access to a social media and phone surveillance system that is designed to monitor a city neighborhood or block for mobile phones. Okay, track the movements of those devices and their owners over time, and follow them from their places of work to their homes or locations. Turn off locations, people. Now, when we published the first set of records we obtained and also they can hack your phones too. Okay, they can absolutely hack it. Now, when we published the first set of records we obtained from DHS, we highlighted some major revelations from the documents, including the huge volumes of location data at issue, how revealing that data can be about individuals' lives, and the self-serving attempts of government contractors and DHS itself to minimize the quite obvious privacy implications of this surveillance. Among the new documents is a 2-page legal memo from ICE, providing our most detailed look into the agency's attempt to craft a legal justification for purchasing access to highly sensitive location information without a warrant. The memo claims that the purchase location information is different from the cell phone location data at issue in Carper versus United States, an ACLU case in which the Supreme Court ruled that the government needs a warrant to obtain cell phone location history directly from cellular service providers because of the privacies of life those records can reveal. The ICE memo, which is heavily redacted, appears to attempt to distinguish the purchase location data from the cell phone location data at issue in Carpenter on a ridiculous technicality that this newer data is tied to phones' mobile advertising IDs instead of the phone's numbers or names. But that is a distinction without difference. Okay, they're trying to make up BS excuses as to why they should be allowed to do this. I just want y'all to pay attention. So they're listening to your phones, or they have the ability to listen to your phones, see what you're texting, hear what you're saying, okay, view your pictures and whatnot, any activity, and even follow you where you're going. Okay, please pay attention. Now let's get into it, because here is another this is another report on ICE. Hundreds of protesters clashed with police at scene, okay, of ICE shooting. This is from 12 hours ago.
Number of them, because you have seen in Maury Glover's where his location is and his camera vantage point. The agents have a perimeter set up. They have also been, and this is this more? Okay, so we've watched those flashbangs, and we've seen protesters letting off fireworks. So there is some volatility going on between protesters who've gathered at the scene and the law enforcement presence that was already there after this shooting tonight. And again, multiple rounds of flashbangs, tear gas deployed against the crowd. You can see fireworks now from the aerial shot. The crowd, we've been told, is about 100 to 150 people that have gathered. At times it feels like it's getting bigger. And again, when the crowd is pushed out, Maury said then as soon as the chemical irritants clear the air, they go back up to the perimeter line again.
Yeah, we're seeing some pretty active scenes now in that 5 box that we have on your screens at home, folks. The one scene, I think you witnessed our photographer go down on the ice. As they were backing up again, more chemical irritants were being deployed, and people were trying to back up along with our crew. That's the big box you can see there on the left side of your screens. And you can see that the agents, and there's another one that was deployed. Some of this is fireworks, too, that are being thrown.
Okay, so now with that all being said, Dynamic Quality says, Trump said he will likely use the Insurrection Act against Minnesota. Yes, that came out today. That's breaking news. Okay, so today, former President, why do they call him former President Trump? That's the second time I've seen somebody publish that. Anyway, okay, so anyway, President Trump threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act in a social media post if Minnesota politicians did not stop the professional agitators and insurrectionists. Okay, if they didn't stop them from attacking ICE agents during ongoing protests in Minneapolis. First of all, how are they supposed to stop these people? How are they, okay, Minnesota lawmakers and politicians, how the hell are they supposed to stop the protesters? And they're talking about, there is no insurrectionist. The insurrectionist is Trump and his people, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, professional agitators. No, they're protesters. Now, goes on to say the threat was made amid escalating tensions in Minneapolis following 2 shootings by federal immigration officers within a week, one of which was fatal. Protesters have been clashing with the large surge of federal agents deployed to the state as part of the federal immigration enforcement operation. Now, in the social media post, Trump stated that if Minnesota politicians don't stop these professional agitators and insurrectionists from attacking ICE agents, he's going to definitely invoke the Insurrection Act to end what he called a travesty in the state. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison criticized Trump's threat. Walz described the federal presence as organized brutality, and Ellison indicated preparations for legal challenges that should the act be invoked. So there it is. Going against Minnesota again, just more attacks on them. Okay, so that all being said, let me continue. Like up, everyone, please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, so now the U.S. senators met with Danish officials about Greenland. So let's get into that. Mel says Congress is useless. They're allowing this man to destroy our rights in our country. Honey, I figured out they were useless a long time ago. They aren't hitting on anything. I told y'all, why aren't they being so slow to do anything? You know, sitting here just complaining, but meanwhile letting all of this continue.
Discussion. Several members of us here in the United States Senate are bipartisan for being with Foreign Minister from Denmark, Foreign Minister from Greenland, as well as our ambassador. I think it's important to send the message that here in the Congress, we recognize and support the sovereignty of the people of Greenland, that we show respect for them as a people, that we should not be afraid of engagement and direct dialogue, and that direct dialogue is going to be important going forward. So the fact that they had an opportunity to visit with the Secretary of State and the Vice President today was important to that dialogue, and I'll allow them to speak to it. They have a very tight engagement window, and so we want to respect their time.
Yeah, so it will be very more yes. On behalf of Vivian and myself, we just want to thank you for this meeting, and not only this meeting, but for close, regular contact. And continuously strong support. We will meet again Friday in Copenhagen, so we will continue our discussion. And it is important that people in Congress and the Senate emphasize that, of course, everybody has to respect the UN Charter and the territorial integrity of the Kingdom of Denmark. Having said that, we know that we are in a different geopolitical situation in comparison with 10 years ago, when everybody believed that the Arctic should be low-tension area and everybody took the peace dividend. Things have changed. But we are also ready to step up. We have done that. We have invested almost $15 billion last year and the year before in capabilities in Greenland, and we are ready to do more. It should be done respectfully in a close cooperation with the Kingdom of Denmark and US and in the framework of NATO. So thank you very much.
Did the Vice President take the option of military option off the table?
I'm sorry, we're running terribly late.
Do you agree Congress will be able to step in?
Thanks a lot.
Okay, that's enough of that, because at the end of the day, it's like 10 minutes long and I don't need to hear everything they're going to say. The world's in ruin at this point, or at least the United States is in ruin at this point, and everything's just going downhill on a steady roll. Okay, I know you all can see it. Edward says Congress is in on it all. I told you all that, beloveds. I said the Democrats, for them to not be doing anything, filing articles of impeachment, other than Al Green when he filed them months ago, but hey, they didn't go along with it. And then talking about they're going to file Article 2 and they haven't done it yet. Like, I feel like they all are complicit. Not all of them, but many. And that's what I told you all. They're all in this together. Same snake, two heads. Now, let's go to Putin's threat, because Putin said the world's going to end, honey. Y'all better get ready. Putin said if Trump takes over Greenland, God dang it, the world's coming to an end. Okay? Ooh, honey, somebody build a bunker so we can all hide in it. This is crazy.
Warned of the end of the world if Trump follows through on his promise to take Greenland. This comes after Germany, Sweden, France and Norway deployed troops for joint exercises with Denmark. Trump has repeatedly stated that anything less than US control of the island is unacceptable. Russia has warned of the end of the world if Trump...
Do y'all think Putin's playing? Do y'all think Putin's playing? I bet you he isn't. Okay, and Iran's not playing either. Ha! I don't know about y'all, but I'm damn sure not on Trump's side. I don't care if he is the president of the United States. He can miss me with it.
Following some breaking news out of Iran after Iran threatens President Trump. Take a look at this social media post right now, sharing more details of this threat. This is from the New York Post, saying Iran issues a sickening assassination threat against Trump. Quote, this time it will not miss the target. And they also shared a photo of one of the assassination attempts against President Trump. All of this coming as protests continue to escalate in Iran. These are some file video of some of these protests in which reportedly hundreds, if not thousands of people have been killed. We are following some breaking news out of Iran after Iran.
Okay, now listen to this. So Russia warns it will bring about the end of the world if Trump follows through on the threat. Okay, let me just put this up on the screen. I'm not going to read the entire thing. Okay, the former Russian deputy prime minister has issued a long message or a strong message for Donald Trump. It says Russia has issued a fresh threat to the West following Donald Trump's latest comments about taking Greenland. The U.S. president has been very open about his desire to take the Scandinavian territory, arguably one of Trump's more surprising decisions since beginning his second term in office. It took the 79-year-old almost no time at all to reveal that he wanted to take Greenland over. Now, the territory, which currently belongs to the Kingdom of Denmark, is allegedly wanted by China and Russia if the president is to be believed, claiming that it is essential for national security and international security. This is what he said last week. Countries have to have ownership, and you defend ownership. You don't defend leases, and we'll have to defend Greenland. We will do it the easy way or the hard way. Now, I want you all to pay attention because those were Trump's exact words. We saw the video of him saying it. And here's the thing. When that reporter spoke to him on yesterday and asked him, is he still thinking about taking Greenland by force? What did he say when I showed that to you all last night? He said, that's what you say. I didn't say that. That's what you're saying. Now, clearly, he's playing with semantics because he did say it. If you make the comment, if you make the statement, we can do it the easy way or we can do it the hard way, okay? And he's expressed that either way, he's going to get Greenland. Well, you are talking about taking it by force, Trump. Okay, what an idiot and a liar. He doesn't give a damn about lying. Even when we have audio and video proof, he will still lie. Now, Trump has even claimed that he would have Greenland one way or another in more bold statements, with all of his claims causing the likes of France, Germany, and Sweden to send military personnel out to Greenland this week. Denmark has also warned that an attack on Greenland would mark the end of NATO, saying, and I bet Putin would absolutely love that. Okay, saying yesterday that it was bracing its military presence out along branching its military presence out along with NATO allies. Russian officials have now hit back at those comments from the U.S. leader as they believe Trump wants to place nuclear strike forces on the world's largest island to have superiority over rivals such as China and the Kremlin. Baby, he does not want China and Russia on our arse, does he? Because that's going to be so crazy. Dmitry Rogozin, a senator for part of occupied Ukraine, former deputy prime minister and ex-Russian representative at NATO headquarters, claimed that the eccentric president might have to pay for his words. Somebody's going to pay for his words. I can guarantee you that. Might be us, sadly. The former head of the Russian space agency also runs a military drone unit targeting Ukrainians on the front line. Now, though he claims that Trump's plan may lead to impending doom. Do y'all hear that? Impending doom. Definitely talking about nuclear weapons, in my opinion. Okay, this is not a game. Speaking of the U.S. desire for a Golden Dome missile defense system, which would involve Greenland, Rogozin explained, orbital sensors, ground interceptors, decision-making algorithms, all this requires advantageous geography. Now, Greenland, with its Arctic position, proximity to Russia, and convenience for northern ICBM trajectories, fits perfectly into this architecture. He said that Trump is fulfilling the Pentagon's will with the aim to stop negotiating with European allies, claiming they want to seize Greenland by force. Now, I'm sorry, didn't he just lie and say last night that he never said it? That was the reporter's words, not his? And turn it into a platform for deploying means of both nuclear attack and missile defense interception of Russian missiles. Rasgazin claimed this is the dismantling of the entire system of strategic stability in the world that has prevented the use of nuclear weapons since 1945. Didn't I tell y'all? Nuclear weapons, y'all know how nuclear weapons, how powerful and damaging they can be, right? Okay, y'all know, right? Y'all know about Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Okay, please pay attention. Over 300,000 dead. Let's continue. With that being said, Trump's lost his darn mind. The senator was involved in developing Russia's new 208-ton intercontinental silo launched 15,880 miles per hour nuclear missile known as Sarmat or Satan 2. Do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? This is talking about world disaster and world destruction, and Putin is not playing. This is some scary mess. Putin is saying that he would, in fact, end the world. This is someone who's hell-bent on not being outdone. Okay, just like Trump from the sounds of it. So in real life, this can only be tested once, but it is not certain that anyone will be left to prepare reports afterwards. He said of the 14-story tall weapon, 14 stories tall. That's how big this thing is. Y'all, when I tell y'all this is disastrous. Okay, this is so crazy. Sosa said this is so dangerous. Yes, it is. Honey, Trump is making, this is all crazy. Terry Hinton says Russia has the most nuclear weapons in the world. Number 2 to the United States. Honey, let me tell y'all something. They are not going to destroy their resources. Honey, I don't know why you think they wouldn't. They're not going to destroy their resources. Are you serious? This man just said he would end the world. Honey, you think they don't give a darn about destroying this whole world, including themselves? Have you not read history? There are people in power who will use their military might to destroy anyone and anything in their path. And they will take themselves out. Okay? When doing so, that's how serious some of these people are. Think about the kamikazes. Okay? The Japanese kamikazes drove their planes into those buildings to kill people, into ships to kill people, knowing that they themselves would die, but they didn't give a damn. They risked it all. Okay? They sacrificed. That's the sacrifice they're willing to make. Anybody, listen, the resource for Putin is Greenland. That's the resource. He's already pissed that Trump took over their oil tankers, took the president of Venezuela so that he could have the oil for the United States. Honey, these people are not playing games. Please don't ever underestimate the power and the mindset of a dictator, because that's what Putin is. Okay? That's what Putin is. You can sit there and think that if you want to, that they won't destroy their resources. Really? People have done far worse. Okay? Now, with that all being said, he claimed that the 1960s were and see, that's the thing y'all need to get out of. Y'all need to get out of the mindset that people won't do certain things. These people making threats like they're just talking big. Yeah, no. These people are very serious. Okay, don't underestimate anything that these people are saying. Because I'm going to tell you like this. I'm the type of person, I don't take kindly to threats. When someone makes a threat, I'm going to believe them. Okay? You don't know what somebody is thinking. And also, let us not forget that some of these people are absolute psychopaths, all right, and narcissists who will not be outdone as far as they're concerned. Now, let me continue. This is not fear-mongering. This is giving you all a warning, giving you all the information, okay, so you know what could be coming. Now, with that all being said, he claimed that the 1960s were the last time the Pentagon tried to take control of Greenland in order to place a network of tunnels under the glacier containing missiles. The project then failed, not for political, but geological reasons. The ice turned out to be alive, mobile, and dangerous for the infrastructure of ice missile silos. But technology has advanced far, Rosgazin says. Now, he believes that the Third World War will take place in the Arctic, acting as the fastest route for nuclear warheads to go between Russia and the U.S. Rosgazin said that the U.S. would need Greenland to beat Russia in a nuclear conflict, as it can help with swift destruction of their warheads and the interception of their missiles. Honey, when I tell y'all, y'all better get ready, okay? Because I don't put nothing past demons and devils, okay? That's what I don't do. You can't pay me to sit up here and think that they're not going to do anything that they're claiming. All right. Now, with that all being said, and the sad thing is, if you're proven wrong, you won't even be here to see it or know it. Okay, but let's continue. Now, Greenland's foreign minister. Let's go to that. And this, too, is breaking news. This came out about 6 hours ago.
We need Greenland for national security, so we're going to see what happens. If we don't go in, Russia's going to go in and China's going to go in. And there's not a thing that Denmark can do about it, but we can do everything about it.
The president has made his view clear, and we have a different position. We therefore still have a fundamental disagreement, but we also agree to disagree. And therefore we will, however, continue to talk.
President Trump and the Danish foreign minister on the U.S. effort to take over Greenland. The Danish foreign minister, Lars Løkke Rasmussen, joins me here live in studio. Mr. Foreign Minister, thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me, Brett. Good to see you again.
I know it was an interesting day today. I want to get first, before we get into specifics, your take on that meeting with Vice President Vance and Secretary Rubio.
My take is that it was a
Southern Breeze says, I've heard all of this same BS since I was a child. Nothing new. Honey, you have not heard all of this since you were no damn child. Okay, let's cut the cap. What you haven't heard is about ICE agents being out on the street, terrorizing people, making threats, stealing people's stuff, knocking them down, beating them, killing them. You haven't heard that since you were no darn child. This was never happened, okay, in the United States, except when there was slavery. When they were doing these things to Black folk, or when Black people are out there protesting. And even then, it wasn't as crazy as it is now. Okay, talk about you've been hearing this since a child, nothing new. You sound crazy. When you were a child, you heard about them going to send out nuclear weapons to destroy the whole world? No, you didn't. Cut it out. Okay, cut it out. You've not heard this before. Let's not play games. You may have heard about things that happened in the past, but you darn sure didn't hear any of this, honey. This is a fool who's out here seeking world dominion. And that's what you never heard of. This stuff is prophesied in the Bible, honey. It's just now coming to pass. You never heard about this. These things that are happening right here and right now. When did you hear about this as a child? Okay? Please stop. But let's continue.
brilliant opportunity for us to share our view with our American friends. I mean, we are close allies. We have had diplomatic relations. You will not find an ally to US who have had uninterrupted diplomatic relationships.
Hold on. Because Southern Breeze tells me to look back through history. Honey, I'm a whole historian. Check my resume. Okay? I've taught history in college. There is no such thing as you heard of all this shenanigans and all of this, all these things that are going on right now. You have not heard of this in history. Now, you may have heard that they have nuclear weapons. You may have even seen the movie that came out early 90s or late 80s called The Day After, when they showed what could possibly happen if there was to ever be a nuclear war again. Okay, if there was ever a nuclear war, other than what they did to the Japanese. So with that all being said, clearly, beloved, I mean, you're not going to sit here and make me believe you done heard this stuff all before. You said you heard it all before. Okay, I heard all of this. Now, you didn't say one or two things. You said all of it as a child, nothing new. Honey, this is absolutely new to me. I don't know what planet you were on when you heard it, if you were remote viewing and seeing the future. As a kid, do you have special powers? Are you some sort of prophet? Because then maybe, okay? I just have several questions, beloved. Okay, let me continue. Southern Breeze, I ain't believing you, boo. All right, I love you, though. Let's continue.
As long as we have, for 225 years in a row. And to some extent, not to some extent, we share, the challenges linked to the situation in the Arctic. We didn't agree that it can only be achieved if US conquer, Greenland. So it was a great opportunity to take this, I wouldn't call it a dialogue, these discussions, which have been in social media and the press for 13 months, into a
kind of a formal environment, get to
into
the
a
next
more
step.
formal environment where we could make our points.
But let's just quickly, for the people who don't fully understand.
Yes.
Hold on, now I gotta read this. About damn time says, God will protect the USA, power of the tongue. Why would God, ask yourself, beloved, why in the hell would God protect the US? I'm sorry, please make it all make sense. You think God's gonna protect the US? I'm sorry, but the Bible prophesies that the US will be destroyed. Okay, this is Babylon. And what happened to Babylon? Oh, it fell. Okay, it fell. No, God's not going to protect the U.S. Why in the hell would God protect the U.S., beloved? Ask yourself what God did to Sodom and Gomorrah, to the Philistines, okay, to the Pharaoh and the Egyptians when they enslaved the Hebrew Israelites, the plagues that were sent upon them. You really think God's going to protect the nefarious United States of America, the same country where they enslaved our ancestors, had Jim Crow, and have done all these other nefarious things that God is against? You really think so? Absolutely not. Now, you can pray for God to protect you, to protect the people. But God ain't going to protect this country, and he doesn't need to. And I absolutely feel that the United States is one of the most heinous, nefarious, blood-curdling, wicked countries in the world. And I live here. That's what I think. There's going to be consequences, is all I'm saying. Pay attention, honey. God, please don't ask God to come and help the United States. Ask God to help us.
And what this conversation is about is we put up the map of Greenland. Denmark and Greenland, your relationship, you spend money there. The people there get funds from Denmark every year. What Denmark's relationship to Greenland?
I mean, we are the Kingdom of Denmark. We consist of Denmark, the Faroe Islands, and Greenland, and we have a long-lasting relationship for hundreds of years. 17,000 Greenlandic people are living in Denmark. It's 1/3 of the total population in Greenland. More than 1 out of 10 people in Greenland are Danes. So we are totally integrated. We share a history.
Lawrence just went in on me, y'all. Listen, Lawrence said she's the woman riding the beast. Y'all need to sit down. Here's the thing. For those of you who follow the spiritual channel, NT Gangster One said, have only love for the queen. I love you too, beloved. I love all of y'all. I be going in on y'all sometimes. That doesn't mean I don't love you. But listen, not I'm the woman riding the beast. For those of you who follow the spiritual channel, you may remember that I did a very informative video about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Please pay attention because this is all happening right before your very eyes, okay? I may repost that on this channel sometime this week, but let's continue. Y'all are too much.
And last night, the premier in Greenland made it crystal clear that even though, you know, in a very long-term perspective, and I think that goes for all people across the world, they want some kind of independence. Right now, and for foreseeable future, they want to be a part of the Kingdom of Denmark.
So here's the president's, the Truth Social he put out, NATO, tell Denmark to get them out of here. He's talking about China and Russia. Now, 2 dog sleds won't do it. Only the USA can. Danish intel warned last year that Russian and Chinese military goals toward Greenland and the Arctic. Then the White House put out this picture that kind of depicted that, these 2 dog sleds choosing between either Russia, China, or the USA. There is a concern about Russia and China in that area, right?
Yeah, and we share that concern. I mean, but we also need to have a facts-based dialogue, and you know, and due to at least Danish intelligence, and I don't think your intelligence have a different view on that. We haven't seen a Chinese warship in Greenland for a decade or so. There's absolutely no Chinese investments in Greenland. When I served as Prime Minister, I served Prime Minister twice. We avoided any kind of Chinese investments in infrastructure. You know, 10 years ago, the Road and Belt Initiative, what you have seen in Africa, we avoided all that. We now build new international airports in Greenland. They are funded by Danish money. We had an abandoned American military installation years ago. There was a global tender. I personally intervened in this. in order to avoid, any Chinese footprint. So there's absolutely no Chinese footprint in Greenland.
But they aspire.
Having said that,
we can say they aspire. Russia and China aspire.
And having said that, I fully share, I know your president very well. I have met him on several occasions. I was among the first European leaders to meet him in his first term. And there's always, a bit of truth in what he's saying. And we definitely share the concern that Arctic is not any longer a low tension region. And
I want y'all to pay attention. I may go back to that in a second, but Jeff ATL says, I remember Queen went in on me Friday, December the 8th, 2023. Never again will I cross her like that. First of all, how in the world do you remember the exact date? Okay? Who does that, Jeff? Sit down somewhere. Y'all are too much. But let me continue. Jeff said the exact date and everything. Okay, somebody said Trump's poking the bear. Yes, he is. Dynamic Quality said, you remember the date? Okay. Kimba says, y'all know they can tell your nationality by your social security number. Yes, they can. Because let me tell you all something. This is true. Because in fact, when I corrected my status years ago, it's been at least a decade ago, when I corrected my status and all of that, and started identifying myself by my real lineage, which isn't African American, which Jesse Jackson made up. And, I started identifying as a North American Indian of Cherokee descent. Well, guess what they did? They sent me a new social security card. And it was interesting because it had the same number, but when you turn it over on the back, the number's printed in red with the letter, the alphabet letter on there. That's called the CUSIP number. So the only difference in my new card was the CUSIP number. The initial number was still the same. And so basically, they did that because I changed what I was listed as in my racial category. Okay, so that's absolutely true. That is how they know who you are. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. Okay, so with that all being said, this is all a whole disaster. Okay, now let's go to where Trump is talking about civil rights, or what they say Trump has said about civil rights. That the Civil Rights Act was racist against white folk and makes them feel bad and all that stuff. Well, what about the things that led to our ancestors fighting for civil rights that made us feel bad? Okay, that made them feel bad because I wasn't there, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, let's get into it, honey, because Trump has absolutely lost his mind. Black people for Trump, listen to this.
Published today in the New York Times, President Trump told reporters that he believed the civil rights protections that began in the 1960s were discriminatory to white men. This follows efforts from top members of his administration, including the head of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, who are encouraging white men in particular to file claims of reverse discrimination with the government. While the president's comments were making their way around the world today, we were getting word of a sad update to a story we brought you late last year. Miss Walina Cannon was a civil rights activist who spoke to our Steve Osensami about efforts to overturn the Voting Rights Act of 1965, considered a landmark civil rights law that ended naked racism at the ballot box. We're expecting a decision on overturning the law from the U.S. Supreme Court any day now. Miss Cannon had a fist in the fight for civil rights. She went to college with a young Jesse Jackson and was arrested many a times for integrating lunch counters and fighting with election officials who were trying to keep Black Americans from voting. When we talked with her, she was dying of cancer and wanted to remind America why she felt that civil rights protections remain important. We went with her to vote for what she feared would be her last time.
What do you say to people who say, the racism of yesterday isn't around anymore? This law was meant for a different time.
I say to people, this is taking you back. You're on your way back to no voting, period. And they're going back in stages to take this, less voting places, and make it harder. They don't say you can't vote, but they fix it where, in a lot of instances, you can't vote.
What is it when we do this story that you want me not to forget to tell America?
Is really tell people to try to surmount all the barriers, but vote They must vote and overcome all of that to vote. Otherwise, we're going backwards fast and helping them take us back.
On Saturday, her family tells us that the longtime civil rights activist died in her home in Greensboro, North Carolina. Pancreatic cancer ended her life. She was 85 years old. Her funeral will be held this weekend. In an interview published today in the New York Times, President Trump told reporters that he believed the civil rights protections that began in the 1960s were discriminatory.
Okay, you all listen. Now, what I'm doing here, the reason I'm distracted is because I'm scrolling, looking for more info. Hold on, they say breaking. This came out an hour ago. Hold on. Breaking. Trump administration announces new sanctions on Iran targeting individuals and tied to the brutal crackdown on peaceful protests after the death toll tops over 3,000. Why is Iran any different from Venezuela? Okay, hold on. Let me go to hold on, let me pull this up. Lights up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. I'm trying to make sure we don't miss anything. So they say Trump got horrible news from Congress. That was 4 hours ago. Let's get into it. And then let me just tell Southern Breeze about yourself. Southern Breeze put in the chat, after talking about you heard this all your whole life, then you're going to put in the chat World War III. Southern Breeze, yes. Now, I believe you heard about World War III growing up, because I think most of us probably did. But what we know now is that Trump, if anybody's going to cause it, it's definitely going to be Trump with his ridiculous self.
Amid just the blitz of headlines on what has been a gigantic news day following a gigantic news week, you might not have noticed the news today. You might not have seen the headline today that today a federal court blocked the Trump administration from cutting energy funding just for blue states. This is billions of dollars Congress appropriated for clean energy projects of various kinds all over the country. Trump administration decided, and they admitted this, they decided that just in blue states, just in states that didn't vote for Trump, they would cut all of that funding. They'd leave the funding in place in states that voted for Trump. They would cut it in states that didn't vote for Trump. A federal court today ruled that that is illegal and stopped the Trump administration from doing that. That ruling today came after another federal court today stopped Trump from shutting down a big offshore wind farm in Rhode Island and Connecticut.
You've probably noticed how hard it is to keep track of what actually matters in politics right now. Every day brings a new Trump headline, a new clip, a new argument, a new headache. Something that feels urgent for a few hours dominates the news cycle and then gets replaced by the next thing before anyone has time to sit with it. Now, because of that constant noise, some of the most important developments are slipping almost unnoticed. Not because they aren't serious, but because they aren't dramatic enough. They don't come with rallies or shouting matches. They happen quietly through court orders and congressional votes. And that's exactly what's been happening over the past several days. In a short window of time, Donald Trump ran into resistance from two places that actually matter when it comes to power: the federal courts and the U.S. Congress. Not once, not in a symbolic way, but repeatedly, and in ways that are starting to add up. This wasn't one bad news story, it was a pattern. And it started with the courts. On a single day, federal judges blocked multiple major actions taken by the Trump administration. The first ruling involved clean energy funding. Congress had already approved billions of...
Okay, so bad news for Trump is good news for us. Okay, bad news for Trump is good news for us. Okay, that's how I feel about it. Please.
We begin tonight here with breaking news coming out of Iran. We have learned a short time ago Iran restricting much of its airspace. U.S. troops at the largest U.S. base in the Middle East had been warned to be ready to evacuate. In Qatar, those American forces on alert, and tonight Iran taking those steps to shut down its airspace. The situation inside Iran worsening 24 hours after President Trump warned that the U.S. would take, quote, very strong action if Iran began executing jailed protesters. Some of the new images emerging are disturbing tonight. Iranian police were seen storming a hospital on the hunt for injured protesters. Late today in the Oval Office, President Trump and what he says the Iranians are now saying after his demands. The president was asked if U.S. military action is still on the table. ABC's chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell leading us off from the region again tonight.
Tonight, some American forces on the biggest U.S. base in the Middle East warned to be ready to evacuate. And late today, Iran closing its airspace amid soaring tensions. Just 24 hours ago, President Trump warning Iran the U.S. would take very strong action if they started executing jailed protesters. Late today, the president saying they've now heard from sources that Iran is holding off on the killings.
They've said the killing has stopped and the executions won't take place. There was supposed to be a lot of.
Okay, Trump is lying. I told you all last night that those people did not tell Trump that. Okay, he made that up. And how you know that he's lying? Because today they threatened to assassinate him. See, the reason he said that after he issued his warning, Iran decided not to execute those people that were protesting or jailed for protesting. He was trying to make it seem as if they were afraid of him. As if because of what he said, now they've, backpedaled. Those people are not thinking about Trump, okay? Except to take him up out of here and send him to the spiritual realm, all right? Or the next thing smoking, because that's what they said. Next time, they won't miss. That's what they said. Trump, nobody's scared of you.
Right now. And I keep trying to tell people, hey, this is not Venezuela. Don't think that a couple of Delta Force guys are going to go in, they're going to snatch the supreme leader of Iran, and President Trump is going to declare victory, and the inner circle around the leader is just going to say, okay, no problem. We're happy to be a colony now. Bring in your oil companies and let's play. That's not Iran. That's not its history. It's got a much more complex history. It has a much deeper history. It's a big country, mountainous, 100 million people wedged between Afghanistan and Iraq.
When it comes to the collapse of these regimes, unless it doesn't sort of break from within on some level and the rot that you see from within sort of start to crack, I am not sure how much these military strikes that Trump or others might launch will fundamentally make a massive amount of difference. I was told by one regional leader that 10,000 people out on the streets is noise. 100,000 is significant. 1 million changes the equation, and tens of millions has the potential to overwhelm the regime. We're not seeing that at the moment.
I'm in the U.S. right.
All right. So here's another report on Iran's threat to give Trump a dirt nap.
Following some breaking news out of Iran after Iran threatens President Trump. Take a look at this social media post right now, sharing more details of this threat. This is from the New York Post saying Iran issues a sickening assassination threat against Trump. Quote, this time it will not miss the target. And they also shared a photo of one of the assassination attempts against President Trump. All of this coming as protests continue to escalate in Iran. These are some file video of some of these protests in which reportedly hundreds, if not thousands of people have been killed. We are following some breaking news out of Iran after Iran threatens.
Okay, y'all heard that. They're not playing any games. Now, mind you all, let me just remind you all. Remember on yesterday when Trump flipped off the guy that was heckling him? And then he shot the man, he flipped the man off, and then he mouthed the words, F you. I mean, how is that for a president? So disgusting, such deplorable behavior, right? But we expect that from Trump nonetheless. But with that being said, that man has now come out and spoken, and he got suspended from his job also, by the way. Trump probably wanted him fired, okay?
Has no regrets. That's the word from the Ford worker who heckled President Trump as he toured the plant. In the video seen around the country, he yelled an insult at the president that really made him angry.
We're learning more about the auto worker who President Trump flipped off during his tour of the Ford truck factory in Dearborn, Michigan. This is what triggered the controversy. The guy heckled Trump about the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. Trump yelled back, blank you, before giving him the middle finger. And here's that 40-year-old worker. His name is TJ Sabula, and he tells the Washington Post he has definitely no regrets whatsoever. I don't feel as though fate looks upon you often, and when it does, you better be ready to seize the opportunity, Sabula says. And today, I think I did that. But Ford Motor Company just suspended him, saying, we don't condone anyone saying anything inappropriate like that within our facilities. The White House called Sabula a lunatic who was wildly screaming expletives in a complete fit of rage, and the president gave an appropriate and unambiguous response. Meanwhile, as tensions heat up in Minneapolis, podcaster Joe Rogan, who endorsed Trump in the 2024 election, says the ICE raids have gone too far, comparing agents to Nazis.
Are we really going to be the Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that what we've come to?
His comments come on the heels of new videos showing ICE agents yanking a woman out of her car. She insists she was just trying to get to a doctor's office.
I'm disabled trying to go to a doctor up there. That's why
Let me tell you all something. Let me tell you all something, beloveds. You know, some people who look like me happen to love Joe Rogan. They think that he's not racist. I've always known and felt he was racist. I don't give a damn if he has a black girlfriend. That's what somebody said, and he adopted her black child. I give 0 F's about that. That doesn't mean you're not racist or can't be racist or have racist ideologies or thoughts and views. No. Well, your thoughts and views are your ideology. But nonetheless, y'all know what I'm saying. With that being said, Joe Rogan told a joke once about going to a movie theater in a black neighborhood, and he said something about Planet of the Apes. So it looked like he was in Planet of the Apes or whatever. Okay, I was offended by that. Okay, I was offended by that. First of all, some black people said, oh, that doesn't make him racist. Yeah, it does. Okay, the fact that some of these people who don't look like us are cool with people who look like us, and then y'all think that it's okay for them to say the N-word or say little slick racist jokes, and y'all say, oh, it's not racist, so they didn't mean any harm. Like, get the F out of here. Get the F out of here. And what do you think now? He sat up there and endorsed Trump. Did like a 2 or 3 hour video or interview with Trump. At the end of the day, the only reason he's crying foul now and saying ICE is doing too damn much is because ICE killed a white woman, and now he sees that ICE is going after people who look like him. All of these people who voted for Trump, endorsed Trump, or had nice things to say about Trump, who didn't give a damn that Trump was back in office and in fact helped him to get there, all of these people having buyer's remorse are only upset because now they know that it could happen to them. They didn't give a damn when it could only happen to us, or they thought that's how it was going to go down, that it would only happen to us and immigrants. They didn't care. They still went out there and promoted this man, had him on their podcast, talked to this man, big upped him, endorsed him, and all of that. But now, oh, he's the problem. Like, miss me with it. I can't stand Joe Rogan and any black person that does. Well, you know, that's on you. Okay, that's on you. Now, with that all being said, let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay. They say Trump's got people in global panic. He's also, because he's also issued a visa freeze. That's right. Peaceful Living said he helped Trump get elected. Of course he did. He's got millions of followers. And I know a black person that told me dead to my face, argued me down that he wasn't racist. That doesn't make him racist when he made that comment about the Planet of the Apes. But the same black person can't stand Trump, can't stand anybody that supports Trump, and can't stand anybody that says they voted for Trump and will go in on them. So I'm sorry. I think now they probably feel like a fool for ever caping for Joe Rogan, who clearly endorsed him. All right, but let's get into this next video. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance.
Global panic. As of today, the U.S. is slamming the door on visas for 75 countries. And 2 of the most explosive additions to that list are Russia and Iran. Here's what's actually happening. The Trump administration has ordered an indefinite freeze on immigrant visa processing for 75 countries, according to an internal State Department memo. Officers have been told to deny visas while the government re-examines how applicants are screened and vetted. The list is sweeping, and it also includes countries like Afghanistan, Somalia, Yemen, and Thailand. Thailand. Officials say this is about national security and vetting, with officers now instructed to weigh factors like health, age, English proficiency, and whether applicants might rely on public benefits once in the U.S. So to address the elephant in the room, is this about terrorism? Partly, but it's also about geopolitics. The move comes as Donald Trump weighs potential military actions against Iran following mass protests and threats of executions by the Iranian regime. Has the U.S. done this before? Yes, but rarely at this scale. Trump's first-term travel ban targeted specific countries. This is broader, indefinite, and more aggressive, effectively freezing legal immigration for millions overnight. Reaction has been swift. Fear, anger, confusion, especially from families waiting to reunite and dissidents fleeing repression. Bottom line, this isn't just immigration policy, it's a warning shot.
Yeah, we are watching to see what comes next. That's why I'm going to stay on it and keep reporting on this stuff. This is very important that we stay informed on exactly what's going on and what's going down. But now let's talk about the Somalians too, because we already know that they had protected status. And that's why they gave 0 Fs, some of them about black folk, because they had their protected status, but they don't have it anymore because the Trump administration said they will revoke temporary protected status for thousands of Somali nationals in the U.S. in the face of White House claims that the diaspora community in Minnesota participated in widespread fraud. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said this on Tuesday. She told Fox News that Somalis with temporary protected status would be required to leave the country by March the 17th. Did you all hear this? She wants the Somalians to pack their bags, okay? She argued that conditions in Somalia have improved and added that allowing Somali nationals to remain temporarily in the United States is contrary to our national interests. We're putting Americans first. Oh, now they want to talk about America first. Please make it all make sense. In a separate social media post, the Department of Homeland Security said, "Our message is clear. Go back to your own country or we'll send you back ourselves." Do y'all hear this? Why don't black people get together and tell them that? Why don't we all get together and tell them the same thing? Go back to your countries or we'll send you back ourselves. Because I'm sorry, aren't they immigrants too? Yeah, they absolutely are. Were they born here? I mean, were their ancestors born here? No. It's very interesting that the people who stole this country think they own it and think that they get to tell other people who are immigrants just like they once were to get the hell out. I find that very interesting. Let's continue. Now, they go on to say that the move would affect thousands of Somalis in the United States, though not the majority of the U.S. Somali community, many of which are already permanent residents or U.S. citizens. Yet the announcement comes as the federal government ramps up its immigration enforcement operations in Minnesota, the state with the largest Somali population in the U.S. The Trump administration has already sent more than 2,000 immigration enforcement officers into Minneapolis, and federal officials are threatening to send in more federal agents to the city. Why do they need more? Don't they think they've done enough damage? Meanwhile, federal officials have butted heads with the state's Democratic governor and the state's Democratic mayor in the wake of the shooting of 37-year-old Renee Good by an ICE officer. The city's mayor, Jacob Frey, has called on ICE to get the F out of the city, prompting scolding from top Trump officials or in his administration. Now, administration officials have defended the officer in question and blamed Good for escalating an encounter with the officer, accusing Good of being a domestic terrorist. That's not what ICE is. Aren't they domestic terrorists? Of course they are, without offering much evidence to back up the assertions. The efforts are in response to a scandal in which charities and organizations, okay, we already know that part. Okay, this is all a whole darn disaster, and I'm so over it at this point. Okay? I am so over it at this point. Now, that being said, let's go to the lifelines, and then I'm out of here. Listen, I want you all to remember that later on today, probably around 6:30 or 7 o'clock, I'm going to be doing a story about Riziki, also known as Rizzy Elinray, the young lady who took her life on TikTok, okay, about a month or so ago, actually December the 12th. Okay, so we're going to talk about that because I have some more information on that. Okay, so that all being said, okay, y'all are putting the black women's names in here. That's right. Justice for all of them. Honey, nobody cares about black people in this country. Okay? Even black people don't seem to care about black people in this country sometimes. Some of the own black people don't. And I find it all very just sad. Okay, so now let's get into this. Now, let me just tell you, beloveds, what prompted me to do this video. I mean, to talk about this lifeline. So today, we're going to be talking about this kissing bug. Okay, the fraud malians. Edward, I'm not even going to go there. Okay, you need to stop. Okay. Lillian said, thank you, Queen, for those important lifelines. I appreciate you, beloved, and you're welcome. So we're going to be talking about the kissing bug. And the reason we're going to be talking about it is because this thing has now become like, I'm not going to say popular, but there are more cases of the kissing bug and the damages that it does. In the United States, there's more cases in the United States. Usually this will be found in tropical areas, but somehow it's migrated here and it's very dangerous. And what prompted me to do this is because I saw a video. Went on TikTok and I saw this young man and his face, his eyes, and I thought, oh my goodness, who beat the crap out of him? Now, he went to talking about he'd been bitten by a kissing bug. So we're going to listen to his story. It's about 4 minutes long, but then I'm going to show you what doctors say about the kissing bug. Look, I did the research on this myself because I had never even heard of a kissing bug. And just from the sound of it, it doesn't even sound nefarious or deadly or dangerous or any of those things. But I promise you it is. And you should be very careful with your children when they're outdoors playing. You should always use some sort of insect repellent. You should try to stay out of the woods if you can. I know black people are not there in the woods for the most part, but I need you all to really take this seriously because it's not a game. Okay, let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, this is the young man. Now, excuse him because he's one of the what you all call the YNs. Okay, he's a young person, so he keeps saying, you know, the slang and all of that. But ignore that and listen to what he says. Okay, these are your lifelines. Mel says, what does a kissing bug look like? Don't worry, beloved. I'm going to play a video where they show you exactly what it looks like.
Chat, you feel me? It's your boy, Zah, you feel me? And I just came up here to explain my condition to y'all because I feel like, you feel me? I feel like I'm doing pretty good on TikTok right now. I feel like I'm going pretty viral with the live side of the TikTok, with like the live streaming side of TikTok. And I see a lot of comments every day, you feel me? Like every time I go out, what happened to your eyes? Okay, boom, what happened? Like, did you fight? Like, do you got a disease? You got a condition? So I thought I would just come up here, you feel me, and clear it up for y'all, you feel me? So I'm just go ahead and start the story. So let's get into it, you feel me? So in 2018, I got bit by a kissing bug, you feel me? And when I got bit by this kissing bug, like first week, I ain't noticed nothing, okay, cool. But then the second week, you feel me, I noticed the bottom of my arm, okay, cool. I thought it was just like a normal kissing bug bite, you feel me? Nah. Week after that, so on the third week of 2018 in February, my eye started getting fat. The first.
Now let me say this. He says that he got bitten by the kissing bug and he thought it was just a regular bite. He noticed his arm. He doesn't tell you what he noticed on his arm, but what he probably noticed was a rash, because that's usually what you'll see first when you're bitten by one of these things, a rash somewhere on the body. Now, he says a week later, his eyes started to swell, or they got fat, as he calls it. Here's the thing. A week later, that means that he likely didn't go and seek medical treatment right away because he thought that it was no big deal. It's just the bug bit me. And then he saw the rash. Let me tell you something. If you get bitten by one of these things, it is imperative. Okay. It is detrimental. I mean, it is so imperative that you get to the hospital right away and get treatment because this can be very detrimental. Because what's going on with his face, that's not even the worst of what could happen. Luckily for him right now, he doesn't have the other symptoms, but there are some serious things that can happen, which we'll talk about momentarily. But let's continue.
The first eye, this eye, okay? Stay with me now. So when my first eye got fat, I was like, damn, you feel me? I felt some type of way about it, but it was like, I ain't know how to take it at the time, okay? So it's like, it started off with one eye, then two eyes, okay? The second eye became like this in 2023. So keep that in mind. Remember, it's 2026 now. it would be 9 years in February ever since this one started, and 3 years in February ever since this one started. And it all happened around February. That's what I find weird. Like this all and this all happened in February. You feel me? So I find that weird. Stay with me. So I with my just going to school like this, I ain't going back, bro. It's cool, cause you feel me? Because it's like there's people that care about me. You feel me? But I ain't gonna sit up here and lie and say, you feel me? People don't be trying to make jokes and like people don't be trying to be cool and stuff. You feel me? And like people don't be trying to fight or do this because they think I'm sweet because my eyes like this. I ain't gonna sit up here and lie to y'all like it's not that. You feel me? But the reason I go to school, cuz, is because nobody can make me feel no type of way about my eyes. You feel me? I feel like God gave me this for a reason. You feel me? I think God gave me this. You feel me? To finally put my life out there. You feel me? To finally achieve something at this age. You feel me? And yeah, you feel me? Like I just feel like it's probably gonna be a 3-minute video, so I'm gonna end it at 3 minutes for y'all. But I'm just keep it going. So I ain't gonna lie. My advice to y'all, bro, don't care what people say. Words can't hurt you, bro. And another thing, don't feel bad for somebody who don't feel bad about themselves, because I don't feel bad about myself. I love myself. It was a time in my life that I felt a way about it, but I don't feel no way about it now. You feel me? So just to clear the rumors, I did not get beat up. I did not fight. I did not have none of that. I got a condition called Chagas disease. It is an option to cure it, but nobody just has 150K sitting in their back pocket. You feel me? Especially not at my age. So I just wanted to thank, honestly, I'm just in here. You feel me? So I want to thank everybody who be coming in the lives, showing support, showing love. You feel me? Showing signs like that they actually care. You feel me? And I appreciate y'all for that. And I'm gonna keep this streaming, and I'm gonna for sure keep this streaming shit going for real, for y'all. You feel me? Who knows? I might do Kick or Twitch, but for right now, I'm staying on TikTok. You feel me? So that clears everything up. It's a 4-minute video. I probably know y'all won't watch the 4 minutes, so y'all might skip it a little bit. But yeah, you feel me? So I really appreciate everybody who got me to 100K likes, who got me to 4K followers, who got me actually getting paid on TikTok now. You feel me? I appreciate all y'all, and I just want to say thank y'all. You feel me? I really love y'all, and yeah, that's the story. Appreciate y'all, boy. What's up, chat?
That is so very sad and heartbreaking. Peaceful Living, hey beloved, says God didn't give him that. No, God didn't. You know, sometimes we tell ourselves things to make us more comfortable with dealing with things. So him saying that he feels like God gave that to him as a purpose or whatever, I don't believe that. But if that helps him to deal with it, he's had this for 9 years. It's very sad. Imagine having to look like that for the rest of your life because you cannot afford the treatments. And I looked it up. The treatments are hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay, so it says, wow, this is horrible, Queen. Thank you for making us aware of it's horrible. You're welcome, beloved. Now let's go to what the doctors have said about this. And the disease is called Chagas disease. So we're going to talk about how this all spreads. Let's get into it. Also, I want you to see what the bugs look like. So if you see them or you see one, you should probably, well, of course, stay away from it. Now, some people tell you to capture it and take it to a doctor or somewhere so they can test it or whatever. Honey, I'm getting the hell on. I'm not trying to capture it unless it's somewhere in my residence or whatever. God forbid. Then you got to capture it to get it the hell out of there. But other than that, honey, I'm running real quick. Okay. So hold on just a second. Let me share the screen. Here we go.
Kissing bug is spreading its disease in several U.S. states, and it's spread through the bug's feces.
What may look like an ordinary insect is now linked to a dangerous disease across the U.S. The kissing bug, also called a vampire bug, has been spreading a parasitic illness known as Chagas disease. They are called kissing bugs because they often bite people around their mouths. These bugs feed on blood and pass the parasite through their feces, which people may rub into a bite wound or mouth without even knowing. In many cases, people do not notice the infection right away, but some may develop eyelid swelling, fever, fatigue, headaches, loss of appetite, diarrhea, or vomiting. Without treatment, the parasite can damage the heart, digestive system, or nervous system. which can even happen years later, which is why it's important to get treatment as soon as possible. To reduce your risk, use insect repellent, seal cracks in windows and doors, and keep wood piles or clutter away from your home. Share this video to increase awareness.
A deadly kissing bug.
Okay, so now let's go to the next clip. NT Gangsta says, why do they call it the kissing bug? Well, I believe it's because once it bites you, the feces from this bug, it allows a parasite to enter the body, and the parasite enters through an open wound that you may have or through the mucous membranes, which would be the eyes or the mouth. Okay, usually like the eyes or the mouth. That's why his eyes were swollen like that, because that's likely where the parasite entered his body. Okay, now the reason they call it kissing is because it usually is somewhere around the mouth area, and people tend to, if they get bitten by it, I'm sure the bite probably feels like a sting. So what's the first thing you instinctively do? You rub your mouth. Okay, so I do believe that's why they call it that, because it usually is somewhere around the mouth where the parasite enters. It's also sad and disgusting. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's go to this next clip. Like, this is all news to me. I literally never heard of this thing, okay, until I saw his video. So here is another doctor speaking on it. And then someone said they called them stink bugs. I don't think those are the same thing. Okay, I don't think those are the same thing, because kissing bugs usually would not be found in the United States. Now, but they say, that's why I'm talking about it, because now they say they're becoming more common here. Okay, and that's a cause for concern.
Chagas disease is now here to stay in the United States. Not a big surprise if you haven't previously heard of it, because Chagas, also known as kissing disease, has mostly been relegated to the tropics. I'm talking about Mexico and Central America, South America, but that is starting to change. Why? Because as the weather gets warmer, these quote unquote tropical diseases are increasingly heading north. Take a look at this map. There are now 32 states where we see kissing bugs, and at least 8 states have reported human infections. Experts say it is now endemic, meaning it has a real presence in the United States. Infections are occurring here as opposed to being imported from elsewhere. Now, Chagas is spread by insects, colloquially known as kissing bugs. That's because they typically bite you on the face at night. Now, they're probably biting your face because the rest of your body is typically under covers at that time. When they bite, they also drop off some parasites, which you might then itch and rub into your face. And this is what it might look like, for example, if it gets into your eyelid. Untreated, Chagas can cause cardiac problems, GI problems, and this can happen even years later. This week, we asked you what questions you had about Chagas disease, and many of you had questions, like Deidre, who wants to know, what is the treatment for kissing bug disease? So some good news on that front. Again, Chagas is caused by a parasite, and there are effective anti-parasitic treatments. 2 of them are called benzonidazole and nifurtimox. A couple of things about them. First of all, they can be really effective if taken early. So Deidre, if you're worried about this, if you think you might have Chagas, get it checked out early. Don't wait on this. A definitive diagnosis is typically from a blood test. If you wait too long, the effectiveness of the medications start to wear off, because the parasite will eventually move out of the bloodstream and start to infect other organs and tissues in the body. It will be a commitment to get treated. That means daily pills for around 60 days is what it's going to take, and it's not cheap, hundreds of dollars potentially. You know, there's thousands of antibiotics out there. There are hundreds of antivirals out there, but there's only dozens of antiparasitics. But luckily in this case for Chagas, those antiparasitics can work pretty well. Hope that gives you some peace of mind.
Okay, so now he says those antibiotics work pretty well. Here's the thing. I don't know what the doctors told him when he initially went to the doctor. It seems like they didn't really do much, because he didn't talk about any medications being offered to him. He said that they told him the cure is like $150,000. This man sent hundreds of dollars, right? Okay, so here's what it says. Chagas disease has two phases: acute with flu-like symptoms, fever, body aches, rash, fatigue, headache, vomiting, diarrhea, and potential eyelid swelling. And the eyelid swelling, they call that Ramanas sign. Okay, at the entry site, often mild or asymptomatic. The chronic phase can develop years later. He's already had this for 9 years. He could be in grave danger. Someone asked if he got help. I don't think so, because he has had this. He just posted that video 2 days ago. Okay, he just posted that 2 days ago. So the chronic phase can develop years later, causing severe heart problems, irregular heartbeat, heart failure, or digestive issues, including trouble swallowing, constipation. Okay, though many remain symptom-free for life, and hopefully that'll be the case with him. So this is all very scary. It develops years or decades. A chronic phase, which is the later stage, develops years or even decades after the infection. Many people will have no symptoms, but about 20 to 30% develop very severe complications, such as heart problems like an enlarged heart, arrhythmia, heart failure, sudden cardiac arrest, an enlarged esophagus, difficulty swallowing, or colon issues. Okay, chest pain, palpitations, dizziness, and fainting. Early detection is crucial for effective treatment with antiparasitic drugs, but symptoms can be easily missed. All right, so hold on, let me tell you about the treatment. Benzonidone, I think that's what they call it. Hold on. Okay, so Chagas treatment, disease treatment involves an antiparasitic drug, primarily besnidozole. I know I'm saying this all wrong. Besnidozole and nifurtimox, which are highly effective if started early. So this is 9 years later. Like he said, he didn't say anything about ever taking these, and I think he didn't, because that's why he's in this predicament, sadly. But it talks about this is the treatment, if it's effective, highly effective if started early in the acute phase, but also used in chronic stages to slow the progression, okay, with efficacy decreasing over time. Now, treatment also includes managing the symptoms, such as the heart or digestive issues, with medication, pacemakers, or surgery for advanced complications through side effects. The antiparasitics are common, especially in older adults. This is all very, very sad, okay? Very sad at the end of the day. And so let's look at the cost of the treatment. The cost of Chagas disease treatment varies significantly from a few $100s, okay, which may have been the case if he gotten it treated early. A few $100s annually for basic care in endemic areas, or potentially tens of thousands for complex cardiac issues like heart transplants, with overall lifetime costs potentially exceeding $20,000, heavily influenced by early diagnosis. Okay, blase, blase. So it seems like the treatments have gone down. I think that possibly when he first got this 9 years ago, that the treatments were very expensive, and he likely didn't have any insurance, sadly. I think that he should maybe take up a GoFundMe or something like that. I don't know. What do you all think? This is all so sad. Hold on, let me read some of these comments before I roll up out of here. DJ Big Six said he need to talk to the elders. Let me tell you all something. He needs to start trying to take some herbal medications, herbal remedies. What about because this is a parasite within the body, right? And we know that parasites tend to hide in the body, specifically in the colon, because of what's in the colon. And it can go to the heart, the brain. I mean, these parasites can travel a myriad of places within the body. At this point, it is likely in his organs, as they say, because of the length of time that he's had it. No longer in the bloodstream, but now more so in his organs. Okay. And with that being said, maybe he should try, and the doctors are not going to tell him this. Only a holistic doctor would tell him these things. But maybe, and I'm not a medical doctor, I'm not giving you medical advice, but if it were me, I would likely try to go to a holistic doctor to get advice on that. But I wonder if he should try wormwood. Isn't that what it's called? Wormwood? That gets rid of parasites. Wormwood. It basically paralyzes them and kills them, and then, you know, they're dispelled from the body. So he may need to try something like that. Do some type of parasitic cleanse to try to get it out of there. Because at this point, if they did surgery for one of his organs, there's no guarantee they would find that thing. Okay, and have they, let me look this up because I'm wondering, do these things multiply? Hold on, beloveds. Let me see here. I'm pretty sure they would. Yeah, the parasite causing Chagas disease multiplies extensively inside human cells like muscle, nerves, and immune cells during the infection's acute phase, forming many new parasites that burst out and spread through the bloodstream to infect other tissues, causing long-term damage over years in chronic cases. Ugh. Okay, so you all heard that. So basically, just keep that in mind. These things are very dangerous. How do you get it? Get infected by these? They enter once the bug bites you and it defecates. The parasite enters through the bite wound where it actually bit you, or a cut or mucous membrane such as the eyes or mouth. Once inside the body, the parasite transforms and invades host cells, changing into a mastigotes form. Inside the cell, the mastigotes multiply rapidly through several rounds of replication. These replicated parasites transform back into trypomastigotes, burst the host cell, and enter the bloodstream to infect new cells. All right, y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? So anyway, with that all being said, make sure that you are doing your due diligence. All right, I'm about to be out of here. Hold on, I'm trying to see how you pronounce this word. It's just bugging me. Ha! I didn't say bugging me. It's called Ahmadiyyah. Oh, okay. I think I said it right, surprisingly. Ahmadiyyah. All right, that all being said. Anyone have any questions before we move on? Okay, wormwood, pumpkin seeds, cloves, says RG Type. Yeah, you know, they do say pumpkin seeds is good for that. I think pumpkin seeds is also supposed to be good for your digestive tract. Queen, how about an herbals and benefits show? Okay, Cyrus. You know, yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll do one of those. Okay, Kimber says, we can't think logical when we have illogical people making dumb, harsh decisions for us. Very true. Very true. Okay, NT Gangsta says, it purifies your blood, neem water. I do have some neem oil. Look at Buckhorse DC said, damn, that's worse than the venom. Oh, no, right? Now it says bio warfare. Some of you all seem to think that they made these things. I don't know. So I see y'all talking about gain of function. Okay, so Brittany says black walnut husk. Okay, NT Gangster says Trifala powder. Okay, Buckhorse DC says wormwood, which I said as well. Okay, garlic cloves are the best. Yeah, those are good. They do say they keep the vampires away, and y'all do know they call this the vampire bug, right? Okay, thank you, Albie Chill. DJ Big Six says apricot seeds. Okay, with that all being said, I'm out of here. Listen to this. VZ the Great says Trump will blame migrants for the kissing bugs. Okay, no doubt about it, beloved. So listen, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. We're at 2 hours. I love you all to life. I hope you all got something out of the broadcast. Hope you enjoyed it. We will be back tonight at 7. Make sure you tune in so we can talk about part 2 of Rizzy. And if there's any other news about Trump, we're going to talk about that too. So make sure you tune in. All right? And make sure you tune in. Yes, they do multiply very quickly, it says, beloved. Thank you. Okay, so hold on. Queen, off topic. Do you think Mike Tomlin will go to the Browns as head coach? You know, that's a good question. I don't know, beloved. I have no idea. And I need to look into that. Maybe we'll talk about Shakur later also, because I haven't talked about my nephew in a few days. Okay? So that all being said, I love you all to life. Thank you, Soul Sister. Said greatest 2 hours of my day. Thank you, beloved. Y'all know I love my loyal royals, okay? So with that all being said, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please make sure you do. I'm bringing real world news and lifelines, things that you need to know. Okay, now don't pay me any attention if I go in every now and then. That's just how the queen does. Y'all know I still love y'all. Okay, so each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds. Dawn, Desmond said, cough, cough. Oh, I am so done. Always remember to keep the Most High first in your lives, beloveds, okay? Now, Auntie Gangster, why did you have to put all this up with all these big arse words? It says, Triphala possesses anthelimintic properties that help expel parasites from the digestive tract. Ancient Ayurvedic treatment for parasites. Thank you, beloveds. Okay, are you a whole doctor? Are you into holistic medicine, beloved? Okay, you seem very well versed, and I love it. Okay, so that all being said, Deron said, "Thank you, Queen. Great broadcast full of knowledge for nefarious royal." Okay, all right. So I will talk to you all again soon. Until next time, beloveds. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got